The mood in the command center was grim. Captain Warren Mitchell stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the holographic display of Earth's remaining defenses. It wasn't much. 3 years of war against the Arcturus Collective had reduced humanity's once proud fleet to floating scrap. Colony worlds had fallen one by one. Now only Earth remained, protected by a thin line of orbital platforms and a handful of damaged ships. They're coming back, aren't they? Lieutenant, Samantha Reeves asked, stepping beside him. Her uniform was crisp, but her eyes carried the same exhaustion everyone showed these days. Mitchell nodded. Intelligence says 3 weeks, maybe less. And they think one ship can change that? Samantha glanced at the far side of the display, where a single vessel floated in a secure dock, the USS Vengeance, Earth's last hope, the most advanced battleship ever built by human hands. While other ships followed traditional designs, the Vengeance represented a completely new approach, built not to fight fairly, but to strike fear. Admiral Drake believes it can, Mitchell said. The doors to the command center slid open. Admiral Victor Drake entered, followed by an older man in an engineer's uniform. Captain Mitchell, Drake said, meet Chief Engineer Alan Dawson. He'll be joining your crew. Dawson had gray hair and hands covered with old burn scars. He gave Mitchell a nod instead of a salute. Chief Dawson helped design the Vengeance's core systems, Drake explained. Without him, we'd never have finished in time. Glad to have you aboard, Mitchell said, meaning it. Good engineers were worth their weight in gold. Let's cut to the chase, Drake said. The mission briefing starts. Now. The lights dimmed as the holographic display changed to show the known territory of the Arcturus Collective, a vast network of star systems controlled by 7 alien species who had united against humanity. 3 years ago, they came to our borders claiming we represented a threat to galactic stability, Drake said. They demanded we dismantle our fleets and submit to their rule. When we refused, they attacked. The display showed battles where humanity fought bravely but was always outnumbered. We've lost every major engagement, Drake continued. Not because their individual ships are better than ours, but because they have more. Many more. Mitchell had seen the numbers. For every human vessel, the collective could field 20. So why do they fear us? Samantha asked. Drake smiled grimly. Because we learned too quickly. Their technology has been stable for centuries. Ours changes every decade. They've seen our progress and decided we're too unpredictable to leave alone. The display changed again, showing the Vengeance in detail. This is why we built her, Drake said. Not as part of a fleet, but as a weapon of terror. She carries experimental systems that none of their sensors can properly track. Weapons they've never encountered, and most importantly, she's built to survive. What's the mission? Mitchell asked. You take her into the heart of collective space. Hit their military installations. Destroy their shipyards. Then vanish before they can respond. Make them fear what a single human ship can do. The room fell. Silent. That's suicide, Alan Dawson said bluntly. It's all we have left, Drake replied. Earth's defense forces can hold out for maybe 2 more attacks. After that, we're finished. But if we can make them think twice about the cost of fighting us. Mitchell studied the mission parameters. You're sending us with no support, no reinforcements, no way home if we're damaged. That's correct, Drake said. This is a one-way mission, Captain. The only question is how many of them you take with you. A young woman entered the command center at a run. Admiral, the lunar base is under attack. Drake spun around. What? They're not due for weeks. The display changed to show Earth's moon. A collective strike force had appeared without warning. The lunar defense base was already in flames. They must have learned about the Vengeance, Mitchell said. They're trying to destroy her before she launches. Drake's face hardened. Then we launch now. Captain Mitchell, Chief Dawson, get to your ship. Lieutenant Reeves, round up whatever crew you can find in the next 30 minutes. The mission begins today. The next hours passed in a blur. Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Vengeance as crew members rushed to their stations. Many were meeting, for the first time. Some systems were still being tested. Engineering report, Mitchell called. Alan Dawson's voice came through the comm. Main drive is operational. Weapon systems at 80%. Adaptive shields functional but untested in combat. It'll have to do, Mitchell said. A woman with short blonde hair took the communication station. Communications Officer Olivia Winters reporting for duty, sir. Welcome aboard, Officer Winters. How's our link to Earth Command? Stable for now, sir, but the collective forces are targeting comm satellites. Mitchell nodded and turned to Lieutenant Reeves at Tactical. How many crew did you find? 327, she said. We're short in engineering and medical. We'll manage, Mitchell said, though he wasn't certain. The ship shuddered as dock clamps released. Through the view screen, Mitchell could see Earth, blue and green and beautiful. This might be the last time any of them saw it. Captain, Winters called. Message from Admiral Drake. Drake's face appeared on the screen. Good luck, Mitchell. Make them remember the name of your ship. We will, sir. The transmission ended. Mitchell looked at his bridge crew. Faces he barely knew. People he would need to trust with his life. Our mission is clear, he told them. We are the last defense Earth has. Not because we can win this war alone, but because we can make them question whether victory is worth the price. Lieutenant Reeves looked up from her console. Jump calculations complete. We can make a blind jump to the edge of collective space. Mitchell nodded. Helm, take us out. Communications, broadcast this message to all Earth forces. The hunt begins. The Vengeance moved away from Earth's orbit, its experimental engines glowing with blue fire. In the darkness of space, it seemed small against the vastness. One ship against an empire of stars. A moment later, it vanished in a flash of light, jumping to the edge of enemy territory. On board the collective command ship approaching Earth's moon, an alien officer stared at the sensor readings in confusion. The human vessel, he reported to his commander. It's gone. Gone where? The commander demanded. Unknown. But their jump signature leads toward the Arcturus prime worlds. The commander's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, his species' sign of alarm. They wouldn't dare attack our core systems. What can one ship hope to accomplish? But as he spoke, a cold feeling spread through his body. Humans were unpredictable, and now they had sent their most advanced weapon not to defend their homeworld, but to strike at the heart of the collective. One ship. One desperate mission. The beginning of the galaxy's worst nightmare. The USS Vengeance emerged from its jump on the edge of Arcturus collective space. The bridge was silent as the crew checked their systems. Captain Mitchell looked at the main view screen, showing nothing but empty space and distant stars. Status. Report, he ordered. All systems functioning, Lieutenant Reeves said from Tactical. No damage from the jump. No signs of enemy ships within sensor range, added Lieutenant Kyle Bennett from the pilot station. The young man had a natural talent for flying that had earned him this post despite his limited experience. Captain Mitchell nodded. Chief, Dawson, how are the engines? They held together better than I expected. The engineer's gruff voice came through the comm. But I wouldn't recommend another blind jump soon. The calibration was off by 3%. Noted. Mitchell turned to Communications Officer Winters. Any chatter on collective frequencies? Olivia Winters adjusted her headset. Lots of it, sir. They know we've jumped, but they don't know where. There's a general alert going out to all their border stations. Good. Mitchell stood and addressed the bridge crew. This is where we begin. Our mission is to strike fast, hit hard, and disappear before they can respond. We make them fear what a single human ship can do. He pointed to a star chart on a side screen. Our first target is a supply depot in the Vega 9 system. Intelligence says it's lightly defended but important to their supply lines. Intelligence Officer Gregory Hoffman spoke up from his station. Sir, latest reports suggest 2 patrol ships normally guard that depot. Mitchell smiled slightly. Just 2? Then this is where we show them what the Vengeance can do. The journey to Vega 9 took 18 hours, during which the crew practiced battle drills and familiarized themselves with the ship's unique systems. The Vengeance wasn't like other Earth vessels. Its hull contained adaptive materials that could change color and signature. Its weapons were designed not just to destroy, but to leave survivors who would spread the word. When they reached Vega 9, they found the supply depot floating in orbit around a barren moon. Just as intelligence had reported, 2 collective patrol ships moved in lazy circles around it. Battle stations, Mitchell ordered. The lights on the bridge dimmed to red. Tactical, target the patrol ship's engines only. We want them disabled, not destroyed. Sir? Lieutenant Reeves questioned. Dead ships tell no tales, Lieutenant. We want survivors to spread the word. Understanding showed in her eyes. Targeting engines. Ready on your command. Officer Winters, prepare a message to be broadcast after we disable them. In their language. Tell them this is just the beginning. Olivia nodded, already working on her console. Engage stealth systems, Mitchell ordered. The Vengeance's hull changed color, becoming nearly invisible against the darkness of space. Its energy signature dropped to almost nothing. Approaching firing range, Bennett reported from the helm. Fire when ready, Mitchell said. Lieutenant Reeves pressed her targeting controls. The Vengeance's main guns fired streams of particles that normal shields couldn't block. The beam hit the first patrol ship's engine section, cutting through it, like it wasn't there. The second ship suffered the same fate seconds later. Both patrol ships spun out of control, their engines destroyed but life support still functioning. Broadcast the message, Mitchell ordered. Olivia sent the transmission. On the view screen they could see panic on the alien vessels, as their crews realized they were helpless. Now for the depot, Mitchell said. Target their main reactor, but calibrate the weapons to cause a slow meltdown, not an explosion. Give them time to evacuate. Reeves complied. The Vengeance's weapons struck again, this time hitting the supply depot's power core. Reactor meltdown initiated, she reported. They have about 20 minutes to evacuate. Perfect. Mitchell watched as small escape pods began launching from the depot. Now we disappear before reinforcements arrive. The Vengeance turned and accelerated away from the system, leaving chaos behind. 3 days later, at their second target, the response was much quicker. The Vengeance had just disabled a communications relay when 5 collective warships jumped into the system. They're learning, Reeves commented. As expected, Mitchell replied calmly. Evasive maneuvers. Show them why they call us the Ghost. Lieutenant Bennett's hands flew across his controls. The Vengeance moved in ways no ship its size should be able to, dodging enemy fire while its adaptive hull changed to match the background. Radiation of space. They can't get a lock on us, Reeves reported with a smile. The bridge shook as a lucky shot grazed their shields. Don't get cocky, Mitchell warned. One good hit is all they need. The battle lasted 14 minutes. When it ended, 3 enemy ships were disabled, 1 was heavily damaged and the 5th was intact but had lost all its weapons. The Vengeance had taken moderate damage to its port side. As they jumped away, Mitchell ordered a message left behind. Earth sent 1 ship. How many will you lose before you learn? In the ship's medical bay, Dr. Elaine Palmer treated the injuries from the battle. She had been transferred to the Vengeance at the last minute, bringing experimental medical technology that could speed healing. 6 injured, no deaths, she reported to Mitchell when he visited. But our medical supplies won't last forever at this rate. Then we'll have to get better at avoiding hits, Mitchell said. Or we could raid their medical facilities, Palmer suggested. Their physiology is different from ours, but basic supplies are compatible. Mitchell considered this. Add medical facilities to our target list. Good thinking, Doctor. Over the next 2 weeks, the Vengeance struck 11 more targets. Each time they left survivors. Each time they broadcast the same message. This is just the beginning. Reports from Intelligence Officer Hoffman confirmed their strategy was working. Collective. Forces were being diverted from the planned assault on Earth to hunt for the Vengeance. Ships were being pulled from other fronts. The alien media was filled with stories about the human ghost ship that could appear anywhere. After a particularly successful raid on a fuel processing station, they captured an alien officer. Gregory Hoffman led the interrogation, using his Knowledge of alien psychology rather than force. They're terrified of us, he told Captain Mitchell afterward. Not just of the ship, but of what it represents. They've convinced themselves we have a fleet of these vessels being built. Mitchell smiled. And do they? No, but they believe we might soon. The officer revealed something else. There's a critical flaw in their communication network. Their quantum entanglement system has a frequency vulnerability. If exploited, we could listen to their command channels. Can we use this? Hoffman nodded. Officer Winters is already working on it. If she succeeds, we'll know their fleet movements before they do. That night, as Mitchell recorded his log, he allowed himself a moment of hope. The mission was supposed to be suicide, one last act of defiance before humanity fell. But now, they were actually making a difference. A message from Earth, the first since they left, confirmed it. Admiral Drake's face appeared on Mitchell's screen, looking tired but determined. Whatever you're doing out there, it's working, Drake said. The collective has delayed their attack on Earth. They're pulling ships back to protect their core, worlds. For the first time in this war, we have breathing room. Mitchell nodded. We'll keep hitting them, sir. Do more than that, Drake replied. Make them regret ever attacking Earth. The message ended. Mitchell looked out the viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, the enemy was searching desperately for his ship. The hunter had become the hunted, and the galaxy was learning a lesson about humanity. One ship, one crew, and a growing legend that was changing the course of the war. 1 month into the mission, the USS Vengeance had become a name whispered with fear throughout collective space. Captain Mitchell stood on the bridge looking at the tactical display. Red dots showed their successful strikes. There were 23 of them now. The collective has started moving their ships in groups of 5 or more, Lieutenant Reeves reported. They won't travel alone anymore. Mitchell nodded. Good. That means fewer ships to patrol their territory. Commander Nathan Price, the ship's second-in-command, frowned as he studied the display. Sir, our hit-and-run attacks have been effective, but the crew is getting tired. We need time to make repairs. Mitchell knew Price was right. The Vengeance had taken damage in their last 3 engagements. Nothing critical, but the small problems were adding up. There's a nebula in Sector 7, Price continued. Dense enough to hide our signature while we make repairs. Make it happen, Mitchell agreed. As the Vengeance changed course for the nebula, Olivia Winters called from her communication station. Captain, I've decoded more of their command transmissions. 3 of their governing species are arguing about the war. This caught Mitchell's attention. Explain. The Taurians think we should be destroyed completely. The Vega want to offer peace terms, and the Centauri are threatening to leave the collective entirely. This was exactly what Earth had hoped for. Division among the enemy alliance. Any mention of our next target? Mitchell asked. Yes, sir. They're particularly concerned about Outpost Krell 9. It's some kind of research station. Mitchell had never heard of it. Officer Hoffman, what do we know about this facility? Intelligence officer. Hoffman checked his database. Almost nothing, sir. It's not on any of our target lists. Which makes it interesting, Mitchell decided. Plot a course for Outpost Krell 9 after our repair stop. The nebula provided good cover for 3 days, while Chief Engineer Dawson and his team worked to fix the battle damage. On the 2nd day, Mitchell called a meeting with an unusual addition. Zara Blackwood, a civilian consultant who had been aboard since launch. Blackwood had short red hair and moved with the confidence of someone used to dangerous situations. Before the war, she had been a smuggler who operated on the edges of collective space. You wanted to see me, Captain? She asked as she entered the briefing room. Ms. Blackwood, you know collective territory better than anyone on this ship. Have you ever heard of Outpost Krell 9? Her expression changed. Where did you hear that name? From their own communications. Blackwood sat down slowly. It's not a typical military installation. Smugglers avoid that whole sector. Rumors say they conduct experiments there. Dangerous ones. What kind of experiments? The kind that make veteran spacers change their routes to stay far away. She leaned forward. Captain, if you're thinking of attacking Krell 9, you should know that place has more security than their military headquarters. Mitchell considered this information. Then hitting it would send a powerful message. It would also be suicide, Blackwood warned. This whole mission was supposed to be suicide, Mitchell reminded her. Yet here we are. The Vengeance left the nebula after completing essential repairs. Instead of heading directly to Krell 9, they hit 2 smaller targets along the way. At each one, they left the same message. The ghost comes for Krell 9 next. In day, the medical bay, Dr. Palmer was treating Security Chief Scott Walsh for a burn he received during a boarding action. Hold still, she told the muscular man. This will help with the pain. Walsh barely winced as she applied the medication. Thanks, Doc. Will I be ready for the next mission? You should rest, but yes. She finished the bandage. I hear the next one is big. Walsh nodded. Krell 9. The captain is having me prepare boarding teams. Boarding teams? I thought we just hit and run. Not this time. We're looking for something specific. Dr. Palmer frowned. Is that wise? Our casualties have been increasing with each engagement. Walsh stood up, testing his injured arm. War isn't wise, Doc, but sometimes it's necessary. 3 days later, the Vengeance approached the Krell 9 system using all its stealth capabilities. What they found surprised even Captain Mitchell. That's not just an outpost, Commander Price said as they viewed the massive structure on their screens. That's a fortress. Krell 9 was built into an asteroid, with defensive platforms surrounding it in a complex pattern. At least 15 warships patrolled nearby. They're expecting us, Mitchell realized. We should turn back, Price suggested. Find an easier target. Mitchell studied the defenses. No, they've committed substantial forces here. That means this place is important. We just need a new approach. He turned to Lieutenant Bennett at the helm. Can you plot a course that would let us use the system's sun to mask our approach? Bennett analyzed the stellar data. Yes, sir. It's risky. The radiation will stress our shields, but it could work. Make it happen. As Bennett plotted the approach, Mitchell addressed the bridge crew. This isn't just another hit and run. Whatever they're hiding at Krell 9, we're going to find it and take it. The Vengeance swung dangerously close to the system's sun, using its massive energy output to hide their signature. The ship's shields glowed as they strained against the radiation. Shields at 60%, Lieutenant Reeves reported. Hold course, Mitchell ordered. When they emerged from behind the sun, they were much closer to Krell 9 than the defenders expected. The Vengeance opened fire immediately, targeting the closest patrol ships first. Security teams to transporter rooms, Mitchell ordered. Chief Walsh, your boarding parties are go. The battle was fierce. 3 enemy ships were destroyed in the first minutes, but the Vengeance took heavy damage to its port weapons array. Engineering reports power fluctuations in the main drive. Commander Price called out as the ship shook from another hit. Rewrote, emergency power, Mitchell ordered. On the screen, they could see Walsh's teams had successfully boarded the station. Minutes ticked by as the Vengeance fought to keep the enemy fleet occupied. Communications from Chief Walsh, Winters announced. Walsh's voice came through, punctuated by the sound of weapons fire. Captain, we found something. It's... Static interrupted. Biological weapons lab. They're testing... More static. Designed to target human DNA specifically. Mitchell's blood ran cold. This wasn't just a research station. It was a facility developing a weapon that could wipe out humanity entirely. Download everything, he ordered Walsh, then set charges to destroy the lab. Already on it, sir, Walsh replied. We need 10 more minutes. Mitchell looked at the tactical display. They might not have 10 minutes. The Vengeance was surrounded, taking fire from multiple directions. Engineering. To bridge, Chief Dawson's voice came through. The main reactor is starting to destabilize. We need to reduce power output or risk a breach. Commander Price looked at Mitchell. Sir, we need to retreat. Mitchell shook his head. Not until our people are back on board. He turned to tactical. Lieutenant Reeves, target their command ships, full power to forward weapons. But sir, that will accelerate the reactor problem. Do it. The Vengeance fired everything it had at the 3 enemy command ships. One exploded immediately. Another spun out of control. its bridge section torn open to space. The third managed to evade the worst of the barrage but still took heavy damage. The enemy formation broke apart in confusion. Walsh to bridge. We've got what we came for and set the charges. Returning to transport points now. 5 minutes later, the boarding teams were back aboard. As the Vengeance pulled away, Krell 9 erupted in a series of explosions that tore the station apart. The ship limped away, managing one short jump before Chief Dawson ordered a complete shutdown of the main drive to prevent a catastrophic failure. In the briefing room afterward, Walsh presented what they had found. They were developing a virus that would only affect humans, he explained. If they'd deployed it, they could have killed everyone on Earth without destroying the planet itself. Mitchell looked at the data. And now we've destroyed their research. Not just that, Walsh said with a grim smile. We've shown them that nowhere is safe from us, not even their most secret facility. As the Vengeance drifted in deep space making repairs, messages from the collective's internal communications continued to come in. The attack on Krell 9 had caused panic at the highest levels. 2 more species were now questioning the war. Some were even suggesting peace talks. Captain Mitchell recorded a new message to be broadcast on all frequencies. You tried to create a weapon to exterminate us. Now you see that humanity cannot be exterminated. We are everywhere. We are watching. And we are coming for you next. The USS Vengeance drifted through the empty space between star systems. 2 months had passed since they left Earth. The ship bore the scars of countless battles, burn marks on its hull, patched sections where enemy fire had hit home, and systems running on backup power. In engineering, Chief Dawson worked with his team day and night to keep the ship functional. The damage from the Krell 9 mission had been severe. The main reactor was stable now, but operating at only 70% capacity. We can't keep this up forever, Dawson told Captain Mitchell during their daily briefing. Each repair is less effective than the last. We're running out of materials. Mitchell nodded. He knew the mission had always been meant as a final stand, not a long-term campaign. Yet somehow, they had survived longer than anyone expected. What's our most critical need, he asked. Reactor parts and hull plating, Dawson replied. Without those, the next serious hit could be our last. Before Mitchell could respond, the ship's alert system activated. Lieutenant Sharon Carter's voice came over the comm from the communications center. Captain to the bridge. Emergency transmission from Earth. Mitchell hurried to the bridge, where his crew was already gathered around the main view screen. Admiral, Drake's face appeared, the transmission breaking up frequently due to the distance and interference. Captain Mitchell. Situation has changed. Collective forces. New commander. Zarthal. Boost the signal, Mitchell ordered. Officer Carter adjusted the settings and Drake's message became clearer. The collective has appointed Fleet Commander Zarthal to hunt down the Vengeance. He's their most decorated military leader with over 40 years of experience. They've given him a fleet of 50 ships with orders to find and destroy you at any cost. Mitchell exchanged glances with Commander Price. 50 ships was an overwhelming force. Drake continued. But this is actually good news. Every ship hunting you is one less ship attacking Earth. We've used the time you've bought us to rebuild our defenses and even construct 2 more vessels based on Vengeance technology. This was the first true hope they'd heard. Earth was fighting back. Your new orders, Drake said, are to continue evading capture for as long as possible. The longer you keep their fleet occupied, the stronger our position becomes. Drake out. As the transmission ended, Commander Price looked at Mitchell. 50 ships, they're really scared of us. Or really angry, Mitchell replied. Either way, we've got their attention. Lieutenant Reeves spoke up from tactical. Sir, with the ship in its current condition, we can't fight that kind of force. Then we don't fight them, Mitchell decided. We make them fight each other. Over the next 2 weeks, the Vengeance implemented a new strategy. Instead of attacking military targets, they focused on gathering intelligence. They tapped into communication relays, intercepted diplomatic messages, and studied the movements of Zarthal's hunting fleet. Intelligence Officer Hoffman worked closely with communications, Specialist Sharon Carter, to piece together a complete picture of the collective's internal politics. The 7 species of the collective don't trust each other, Hoffman explained during a strategy meeting. They never have. This alliance was always one of convenience. He displayed a chart showing the complex relationships between the alien governments. The Taurians and Centauri have been rivals for centuries. The Vega believe they're superior to everyone, and the Proxima joined only because they feared being conquered if they didn't. Carter added, and Commander Zarthal is a Taurian. The other species resent having him in charge of such a large fleet. Mitchell smiled. Then that's our weakness to exploit. Their chance came when the Vengeance detected a small convoy carrying officials from the Centauri government. With careful maneuvering, they approached within communication range without being detected. Broadcast on their secure channel, Mitchell ordered. Use their encryption codes. Carter nodded. Ready, sir? Send this message. Be advised, Taurian. Forces planning to intercept and inspect Centauri diplomatic vessel on suspicion of treaty violations. Commander Zarthal has ordered all diplomatic communications to be monitored. Carter sent the message. Do you think they'll believe it? They don't need to fully believe it, Mitchell said. They just need to doubt. 3 days later, they learned their deception had worked. A Centauri warship had fired on a Taurian patrol vessel that had approached too closely to their diplomatic convoy. Both sides claimed the other had acted aggressively. Similar false messages were planted in the following weeks. The Vengeance would appear briefly in one sector, then vanish, leaving confusion in its wake. Each time they made sure to leave evidence suggesting one species was working against the others. In the ship's weapons control center, Master Gunner Paul Martinez worked to keep their offensive systems operational, despite dwindling supplies. I've modified the targeting arrays to use less power, he told Mitchell during an inspection. They're not as accurate at long range, but they'll still hit anything close. Mitchell nodded appreciatively. Good work. We may need those guns soon. His words proved prophetic. Just hours later, the Vengeance was ambushed as it moved through an asteroid field. 3 enemy destroyers appeared, cutting off their escape. Wrote, they found us, Commander Price said as the bridge crew rushed to battle stations. No, Mitchell realized as he studied their attack pattern. This is just a patrol that got lucky. Zarthal's main fleet is still 2 systems away. The Vengeance took evasive action, but in its damaged state it couldn't outrun the enemy ships. A direct hit to the starboard side knocked out sensors on that side of the ship. Return fire, Mitchell ordered. Target their engines. The battle was brief but costly. The Vengeance destroyed 1 enemy destroyer and disabled another, but took significant damage in the process. The 3rd enemy ship retreated, surely to report their position. Damage report, Mitchell called as the red alert lights continued to flash. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 6, Price reported. Weapon systems down to 40%, and... He paused, his expression grim. We have casualties, sir. 5 dead, 12 injured. These were the first deaths since the mission began. The reality of their situation hit home for everyone on the bridge. Captain, Communications Officer Carter interrupted. The enemy ship is broadcasting our position on all frequencies. They're calling in the main fleet. Mitchell made a quick decision. Set course for the Antares Nebula. Maximum speed. Sir, that's collective territory, Lieutenant Bennett objected from the helm. Exactly. It's the last place they'll expect us to go. As the Vengeance limped toward the nebula, the crew worked to repair what damage they could. In the medical bay, Dr. Palmer and her team treated the injured while mourning their first lost crewmates. Hours later, the ship reached the edge of the nebula. Its swirling gases would hide them from sensors, but navigation would be difficult. As they entered the colorful cloud, long-range sensors detected a massive fleet of ships approaching, Zarthal's hunting force. They're spreading out to surround the nebula, Lieutenant Reeves reported. They know we're in here. Mitchell stood at the view screen watching the gas clouds swirl around them. So the hunt begins in earnest. A message arrived from Earth, delivered by Political Officer Harold Grant, who had been quiet for most of the Cairo mission. Grant was tall and thin with the careful speech of a career diplomat. Captain, he said. Admiral Drake wanted you to know that your mission has succeeded beyond all expectations. The Collective's war effort against Earth has stalled completely. 2 of their species have withdrawn from the Alliance, and our new ships will be ready for deployment within weeks. Grant hesitated before continuing. There's more, sir. Earth is offering peace talks. If the Collective agrees to recognize our independence and right to self-defense, the war could end. Mitchell looked around at his battered ship and exhausted crew. Peace would be welcome, but what about us? Admiral Drake was clear, Grant replied. Your orders remain unchanged. Keep them distracted, keep them afraid, until either peace is achieved or our fleet is ready. In the nebula outside, the enemy ships moved closer, tightening their net. Fleet Commander Zarthal was out there somewhere, determined to destroy the ship that had caused so much damage to the Collective's pride. Captain Mitchell gazed at the tactical display showing the enemy fleet. Against 50 ships, they had little chance. But that had been true from the beginning, and somehow they had survived. Now Earth needed them to do the impossible one more time. All right, he told his crew. We've got the galaxy's largest fleet hunting us. They have us outnumbered, outgunned and cornered in this nebula. He smiled slightly. So basically, they're right where we want them. For the first time in days, the bridge crew laughed. The Vengeance moved deeper into the nebula, a wounded predator preparing for its greatest fight. Inside the swirling gases of the Antares Nebula, the USS Vengeance hid like a wounded animal. Outside, 50 ships searched for them. The crew worked in near silence, systems powered down to minimum levels to avoid detection. Captain Mitchell sat in his command chair, studying the sensor data that showed enemy ships moving through the nebula. Fleet Commander Zarthal was being methodical, sending his ships in a careful search pattern. He's smart, Mitchell said to Commander Price. He's not rushing. We can't stay hidden forever, Price replied. Sooner or later, they'll find us. Mitchell nodded. After 3 months of running and fighting, the Vengeance was at its limits. Hull breaches had been patched with whatever materials they could find. The reactor struggled to maintain power, and the crew was exhausted. Lieutenant Frank Collins looked up from the navigation station. Captain, I think I see a way out. Collins was young but brilliant. He had joined the crew just before the mission launched and had proven himself with creative solutions to seemingly impossible problems. Show me, Mitchell said. Collins displayed a section of the nebula on the main screen. This area has unusual magnetic properties. If we move along this path, the magnetic fields will distort our signature. They might think we're just another pocket of dense gas. Mitchell studied the proposed route. That would take us dangerously close to 3 of their search vessels. Yes, sir, Collins admitted. But it's the only gap in their search pattern. Mitchell considered their options, which were few. Prepare the course. We move in 30 minutes. As Collins worked on the navigation calculations, Professor Laura Daniels entered the bridge. Daniels was a xenobiologist who had spent years studying the collective species before the war. Since the discovery of the biological weapons lab at Krell 9, she had been analyzing the data they recovered. Captain, I have something important, she said. I've been examining the communications we've intercepted from Zarthal's fleet, comparing them to what we know about Taurian psychology. And, Mitchell prompted, the Taurians are driven by personal honor. Zarthal isn't just hunting us because of orders. We've humiliated him and his species. This is about restoring their standing within the collective. Mitchell understood the implication. So he won't give up no matter what. Correct, Daniel said. But this also gives us an opportunity. Taurians respond to direct challenges. Their traditions require them to answer personally. A plan began to form in Mitchell's mind. Thank you, Professor. This might be exactly what we need. 30 minutes later, the Vengeance began moving silently through the nebula, following Collins' carefully plotted course. On the bridge, tension was high as they passed within detection range of enemy ships. Enemy vessel at 3,000 kilometers, Lieutenant Reeves reported quietly from Tactical. They haven't seen us yet. The minutes crawled by as the Vengeance slipped through the search pattern. They were nearly clear when an alarm sounded. Energy spiked from their lead ship, Reeves called. "They're scanning the sector." Mitchell made a quick decision. "Full power to engines, forget stealth, just get us past them." The Vengeance surged forward, its damaged engines straining. On the view screen, they saw the enemy ships turning to pursue. "Open a channel," Mitchell ordered. "Broadcast on all collective frequencies." Communications Officer Carter nodded. "Channel open, sir." Mitchell stood facing the screen. "This is Captain Warren Mitchell of the Earthship Vengeance. I address Fleet Commander Zarthal directly." There was a pause, then a response came. The screen showed an alien face, leathery, skin, 4 yellow eyes and mandibles that clicked as he spoke. "I am Zarthal. You have caused enough damage, human. Your ship will not escape this nebula." Mitchell smiled slightly. "I'm not trying to escape, Commander. I'm challenging you. Your ship against mine. One-on-one." Zarthal's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of surprise or anger. "You are in no position to make challenges." "Actually, I am," Mitchell replied. "You've been chasing the Vengeance for weeks. Your leaders are questioning your competence. 3 species have already left the collective because of our actions. How much more failure will they tolerate before replacing you?" The alien commander's eyes narrowed. "Your deception tactics are known to us now. Then prove it. Face me ship to ship. If you win, you'll be the hero who destroyed the ghost ship. If you refuse, even your own species will wonder if you feared one damaged human vessel." The challenge hung in space between them. Mitchell had gambled everything on Professor Daniel's assessment of Taurian psychology. After a long moment, Zarthal responded, "I accept your challenge. My flagship against your vessel. The rest of my fleet will not interfere unless you attempt to flee." The transmission ended. Commander Price looked at Mitchell with concern. "Sir, even damaged, his flagship outguns us 2-1. "I know," Mitchell said, "but now we only have to fight 1 ship, not 50. The crew prepared for battle. In engineering, Chief Dawson pushed the reactor to its limits. "She's got 1 good fight left in her," he told Mitchell. "After that, no promises." Master Gunner Martinez readied what weapons remained operational. Main cannons at 60% power. Targeting. Systems are functional but not optimal. As the Vengeance moved to the agreed meeting place, a clear area in the nebula, Mitchell gathered his senior officers. "I won't lie to you," he said. "This will be our hardest fight yet. But remember what we've accomplished. We were sent on a suicide mission to buy Earth time. We've done far more than that. We've changed the course of the war." Zarthal's flagship emerged from the nebula, a massive vessel 3 times the size of the Vengeance. Its black hull was covered with weapon emplacements. "That's a lot of guns," Lieutenant Reeves commented. "Just means they're overcompensating," Mitchell replied, earning a brief laugh from the tense crew. The battle began without warning. Zarthal's ship opened fire with a barrage that lit up the nebula. The Vengeance dodged most of the shots but took hits to its already damaged hull. "Return fire," Mitchell ordered. "Target their forward weapons." The Vengeance fired, its beams striking the enemy flagship but seemingly doing little damage against its heavy armor. For 20 minutes, the ships exchanged fire. The Vengeance was more agile, but each hit it caused critical damage. Zarthal's ship was slower but could absorb far more punishment. "Shields failing," Reeves reported after a particularly heavy hit. "One more like that and we're done." Mitchell had expected this. It was time for their final gambit. Helm set collision course. Full speed. Lieutenant Bennett looked back in shock. "Sir?" "You heard me," right at their bridge section. As the Vengeance accelerated toward the enemy flagship, Communications Officer Carter opened a channel to Zarthal. "What are you doing?" the alien commander demanded, seeing the human ship charging toward him. "Teaching you why you should have feared us more," Mitchell replied. "Humans don't give up. Even when we lose, we make sure our enemies don't win." The Vengeance hurtled toward the massive flagship. At the last possible moment, Mitchell gave the real order. "Now, Collins." Lieutenant Collins executed the maneuver they had prepared, an emergency jump that no sane pilot would attempt inside a nebula. The Vengeance vanished in a flash of light, jumping to a position behind Zarthal's ship. "Fire everything we have," Mitchell ordered. The Vengeance unleashed its remaining firepower on the flagship's engines. Without shields in that section, the hits caused massive damage. Secondary explosions rippled through the alien vessel. Their power grid is collapsing, Reeves reported. They're losing control. On screen, they watched as Zarthal's mighty flagship began to drift, crippled but not destroyed. Most of the crew would survive, exactly as Mitchell intended. Open. A channel to all collective ships, Mitchell ordered. Carter did so. Channel open. This is Captain Mitchell. Your commander has been defeated, but we've spared his ship. The Vengeance could have destroyed him, but chose not to. Remember that when you think of Earth. We fight to defend, not to conquer. With its final reserves of power, the Vengeance activated its jump drive one more time. They emerged near the edge of collective space to find 3 ships waiting for them, but not enemy vessels. These ships had the distinct design of Earth vessels. A transmission came through. Admiral Drake's face appeared on screen. Well done, Captain Mitchell. The peace talks have succeeded. The collective has agreed to recognize Earth's independence and right to defend itself. Mitchell could hardly believe it. The mission is over? Yes, Captain. It's time to come home. Your ship showed the galaxy what one vessel could do. Now you get to tell the story yourself. As the Earth ships escorted the battle-scarred Vengeance home, Captain Mitchell looked at his weary but proud crew. They had been sent out as a last, desperate measure, one ship against an empire. They had been expected to die making a statement. Instead, they had changed the course of history. Earth had sent one battleship, and now the galaxy knew true fear, but also true respect.